At the start of the film, Cheryl Blake, a black woman, is living somewhere in England, though her exact location is unknown. During a phone conversation with her sister, she shares her struggles with discrimination and financial hardships. Despite excelling in her career, she has not advanced professionally. Adding to her troubles, she has children and an abusive husband who constantly torments her. As the story unfolds, Cheryl is seen ignoring calls from her spouse. She leaves a note on the fridge, informing her family that she has gone to the hair salon. Years later, she has reinvented herself as Nave, a fair-skinned black woman who is now married to Ian, a white man. Together, they have two biracial children, Sebastian and Mary. Nave keeps her hair concealed, distancing herself from her past and cultural identity. Her complexion has also lightened over time. Neve is preparing to host a fundraising gala at her home. One day, while meeting a friend at a cafe, she notices a black man watching her intently. Later, she spots the same man following her on the way home, making her increasingly uneasy. That evening, we get a deeper insight into Nave's perspective. She resents anything linked to her black heritage and is particularly meticulous about Mary's hair, ensuring her daughter does not resemble a traditionally black woman. At dinner, Nave's entire family gathers. Ian runs a shop, while Nave works as the deputy headmistress at their children's school. She is always careful to keep her hair hidden under a wig. While working late one night, a package arrives. Inside are magnets, the same kind she once used to leave messages on the fridge for her former husband. The past she thought she had escaped is beginning to resurface. The next morning, as she drives her children to school, Neve catches a glimpse of two dark silhouettes in her side mirror, figures resembling children. A sense of paranoia sets in as she feels someone is forcing her to confront buried memories. Upon arriving at school, she sees a new staff member, a black man, talking to Sebastian. Given her efforts to keep her family away from black influences, this unsettles her deeply. Later, while rehearsing a song with students for the gala, Neve notices Sebastian sneaking out of school. When she follows him, she finds him smoking alone. Though he insists that he got the cigarette himself, she refuses to believe him and assumes someone must have given it to him. Her frustration boils over, and she lashes out at him. On the way home with Mary, Nave's scalp starts to itch beneath her wig. Along the road, she catches sight of a black girl, triggering disturbing visions of her younger self in the car's mirror. The hallucinations overwhelm her, nearly causing her to crash. That night, while chatting with Ian and their friends, she suddenly spots the same black man outside her home, the one she had seen working as a janitor at the school. Fear grips her. She imagines him approaching the house, but the tension breaks when Mary walks in. Seeing her daughter's new hairstyle unsettles Neve further. As the night drags on, Sebastian still hasn't returned home, heightening everyone's concern. When he finally arrives, Neve's worry morphs into rage, and she lashes out at him violently, forcing Ian to intervene. Later, while getting water in the middle of the night, Neve is startled by creaking noises as the house appears to crack apart. Distant echoes of a child's birthday celebration flood her mind. A girl's presence terrifies her, and she wakes up abruptly, realizing it was all a nightmare. The next day, determined to take action, she reports the janitor to the school administration, believing he was the one who gave Sebastian the cigarette. She insists on disciplinary measures, but the manager warns her that accusing him without proof would be considered discrimination. He assures her he will look into the matter. During a school rehearsal, the fire alarm suddenly blares, triggered by cigarette smoke in the bathroom. As students scramble, Sebastian is spotted fleeing the scene. When Nave rushes in, she finds the janitor there. Angry and hurt, he confronts her. He accuses her of erasing both him and someone named Dione from her life, assuming they were dead. But Nave, visibly shaken, denies any involvement and hurriedly leaves. Later that evening, as guests arrive, Neve puts on a composed front, greeting them warmly at the fundraising gala. Neve comes face to face with two black individuals she initially assumes to be strangers. To her horror, they address her as their mother, leaving her and her family in a state of shock. The story then flashes back to events from 5 days earlier, revealing the identities of these two individuals, Carl and Dione, the figures Nave had been noticing. Carl and Dione arrive in town with a secretive agenda, checking into a hotel under assumed identities. Carl adopts the alias Marvin and secures a job as a janitor at the school, while Dione takes on the name Abigail and begins working as an assistant in Diane's office. They quickly insert themselves into Nave's family life. Dione befriends Mary, inviting her to the hotel for drinking and partying, while Carl connects with Sebastian. coaxing him into smoking after his basketball game. As their influence over Knave's children grows, Carl goes a step further, persuading Sebastian to violently attack his school bully. As the story unfolds, the devastating truth emerges. Niamh was once Cheryl, and Carl and Dione are her abandoned children. Carl stumbles upon old photographs of their past life, where Cheryl is seen lovingly caring for them. However, their home was plagued by their abusive father, a fact that had already been revealed earlier in the film. When things spiraled out of control, Cheryl made a desperate decision. She fled, leaving Carl and Dione behind to fend for themselves. Now grown, Carl and Dione are seething with resentment. Carl insists that their mother has moved on, enjoying a comfortable life with a new family, and suggests they walk away. But Dione, armed with an invitation to Knave's upcoming fundraising gala, argues that they should at least attend. This leads back to the present moment, where Dione confronts Niamh in front of everyone at the gala, unleashing years of pent-up rage. Later that night, Niamh returns home to a family that is both stunned and furious. They demand to know why she hid the truth from them. She finally confesses she had no choice. Trapped in an abusive marriage, she had to escape, even if it meant leaving everything, including her children, behind. Desperate for understanding, she turns to Ian. "If I had told you about my children, would you have accepted them?" she asks. She vows to fix the situation. The next day, Niamh meets Carl and Dione at a diner, attempting to make amends. She insists she never intended to abandon them, claiming she left them in their aunt's care. But Carl bitterly reveals that their aunt only kept them for a few days before discarding them, leaving them to navigate life alone. Dione asks if they can stay with her now. Instead, Niamh offers each of them £10,000 to help them start over in London while things settle down. Though disappointed, Carl and Dione accept the money, believing it to be a sign that their mother is finally trying to acknowledge them. That evening, Niamh returns home and reassures her family that she has resolved the matter. However, she omits the fact that she gave Carl and Dione money. One undeniable truth about Niamh becomes clear: she crumbles under pressure. Any sign of conflict or distress overwhelms her, making her incapable of handling adversity. While the film may be categorized as a psychological horror thriller, the real horror is not for the audience. It is for Niamh. People like her who lack resilience are haunted by their own choices. Throughout life, we are taught to confront hardships, not run from them. But Niamh has done the opposite at every turn. When faced with abuse, she fled. When given a chance to take her children with her, she left them behind. Had she made a different decision, perhaps their lives would have taken another path. Now she is once again confronted with a crisis. The question remains, how will she react this time? Before that answer can be revealed, Carl and Dione take matters into their own hands. Under the cover of night, they break into Niamh's house. Carl seizes everyone's phones and dumps them into the sink, turning on the faucet until water begins to flood the living room. They declare that it is Dione's birthday, insisting that the family celebrate together. Fear grips everyone in the house as the two uninvited guests take control. Attempting to maintain some sense of normalcy, they demand that food be ordered for the occasion. When they discover their preferred restaurant is closed, they settle for an Uber Eats delivery. Despite the seemingly casual conversation, an air of intimidation lingers. The family remains on edge, unsure of what will happen next. Niamh tries to de-escalate the situation, but Carl refuses to back down. His anger reaches a boiling point when Ian intervenes, leading to a physical altercation in which Ian is left injured. Carl demands that everyone sing the birthday song for Dione. Terrified, and with no other option, Niamh's family hesitantly complies. During this unsettling celebration, Ian and the children come to a grim realization. Niamh had secretly given Carl and Dione money, hoping to make them disappear from her life for good. This betrayal shakes Ian to his core, leading him to threaten divorce. But before tensions can escalate further, Dione unexpectedly diffuses the situation by suggesting they play a board game. Visibly distressed, Niamh rushes to the bathroom and vomits. However, when she returns, she appears to have undergone a drastic change. Her demeanor shifts into an almost unsettling cheerfulness. With forced enthusiasm, she joins in the game of Scrabble, pretending to embrace the situation as if nothing is wrong. In reality, she is simply trying to placate Carl and Dione, masking her fear by attempting to lighten the mood. But Carl is not fooled. His anger seethes beneath the surface. In an act of dominance, he drags Ian to the home gym and forces him to lift increasingly heavy weights. Meanwhile, the rest of the family remains trapped in the flooded living room, unable to escape quickly due to the rising water. At that moment, The food delivery driver arrives. Seeing an opportunity, Neve steps outside to collect the order, stalling by offering to give the driver a tip. Perhaps she intends to ask for help. Perhaps she will make a desperate move. She excuses herself, saying she needs to grab money from upstairs. But as she ascends, Carl continues his torment, forcing Ian to lift until the weight inevitably crushes him, leading to his apparent death. By the time Neve returns downstairs, she is confronted with Ian's lifeless body. For a moment, she appears shaken, but only for a moment. Collecting herself, she offers a hollow apology, yet does nothing to retaliate or fight back. So the question remains, what will Neve do now? How will she face this nightmare? Will she finally stand up and protect her family? The answer is simple, she won't. Instead, she calmly tells the group that she's stepping outside to tip the delivery driver, but she never comes back. Moments later, the sound of an engine starting is heard. The car pulls away. Neve has abandoned her family once again. She leaves behind Mary, Sebastian, and the 2 children from her past, now all standing together in the flooded living room. In this moment, one thing becomes crystal clear. Neve's survival instinct has always been purely selfish. She never cared about her first set of children, just as she never truly cared about her second family. When faced with hardship, she does not fight, she simply flees. This is who she is. But this time, there is no escaping her past. Carl and Dione, along with Mary and Sebastian, now share a common betrayal. The 4 of them have been discarded by the same woman. And the next time they find her, they won't be looking for forgiveness. They will be looking for revenge. And so the film ends. This psychological horror thriller takes a unique approach. There are no ghosts, no supernatural entities. Instead, the terror lies in Neve's choices. She is haunted not by spirits, but by the consequences of her own cowardice. No matter where she runs, she will never know peace, because her past will always find her. She started one family and abandoned it. She built a second life, only to flee again. And now she will do it once more, because the one thing Neve fears more than anything is responsibility. And with that, the cycle continues. The film ends, but Neve's nightmare has only just begun.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.